We're going to time travel shenanigans here and try and figure out what the heck was going on.
What was one of the biggest questions for you going into Loki season 2?
Is this going to fix the MCU?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Man. What a mess. What feels like what a mess.
For me, it was that, but it was also like, how much of Jonathan Majors are we going to see? Because he wasn't featured a whole lot in the trailers or the promotional stuff, obviously because of the stuff that, the charges against him and stuff, like what's going on in his personal life. And this episode kind of answered that for me. They're just like, no, look, JM is our king, man. And he's in our show. Like in a big way. In a big way. Yeah.
Yeah. A very big way.
Hello and welcome to the Movie Men Podcast.
The B-Team.
That's Brady.
And that's Carl.
Why do you always sound so confused?
This time I am genuinely confused. Why did we do that?
Because it keeps you on your toes.
You're a jerk.
And we're back. We're back. It's season 2, episode 3 of, I was about to say Kang Dynasty, basically, of Loki season 2.
Yeah. Episode 3, 1893.
1893, in which all of the big crazy things that just happened at the end of the last episode, like the bombing of the timelines, is really not referenced at all.
Yeah. Was like this important?
No, I don't know. I don't fully understand what happened there, but that's okay. Whatever. All right. So let's kick things off. The episode starts in 1868 on the sacred timeline.
An important distinction here.
In Chicago, Illinois, with a ragtime piano rendition of the Marvel theme before the opening on what appears to be a slum. Listen, we have had many coughing fits. We've had many Marvel shows, movies, whatever, that have opened with the Marvel logo, but not the normal fanfare, right? Without the like bum bum butterdum bum butterdum, like whether it be Spider-Man No Way Home or whatever, they use like a different song. Or what's the one? I think Iron Man 2 just began with like the audio from the press conference where he revealed that he was Iron Man. There's been a couple where they don't use the Marvel fanfare. This was really cool.
I honestly didn't notice.
Really? It's like an old-time ragtime piano, but they're playing the Marvel song. You didn't notice that?
If I did, it didn't stand out to me enough for me to pay attention to it and remember it now.
Man, that was one of the points of this episode that I was the most looking forward to talking to you about.
Yeah, sorry.
You cut me. You cut me deep here. You cut me real deep. Ravonna is greeted by Miss Minutes, who has brought her here to do what he who remains wanted. Brought here to do he who remains Z's bidding. It seems that kicking off his own variant's interest in the TVA was always a part of his plan, and even if he who remains couldn't see past a certain point toward the end of his life, he certainly prepared for the worst. Now, this is where, this scene is cool, right? Ravonna delivers a copy of the TVA guidebook to young Victor Timely's, with the promise that he is on top of the TVA, she and Miss Minutes will rule beside him. Now, it's a cool scene. It's cool because it does a whole time travel-y, like, hey, we're going to go back, we're going to give him the book, and then we're going to jump 25 years forward, and he's going to have read the book and have extrapolated and designed his own shit and, whatever. But this is where where I need some explaining. I need someone to make sense of this for me, and Carl, you're usually my go-to, so buckle up.
I'm your only go-to.
It's true. He Who Remains, okay, so he had this plan to, get this variant up to speed.
I think that's a question that I don't think this episode answers. Is the version that gets this book? So this is Sacred Timeline right at the beginning. So there are Kangs from multiple timelines and multiple different parts in actual, coming from different parts of actual time, but is this He Who Remains on the Sacred Timeline, or is He Who Remains a variant from a different timeline that is pruned? He's just happens to be the Kang that won and defeated the rest of them and started the TVA. Does that question make sense?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And maybe makes more sense.
This is right now, this child Victor is on the Sacred Timeline. So presumably this is the Victor that is supposed to exist on the Sacred Timeline. But as soon as she gives him the book, he's now a variant. Because when she jumps forward several years in time, the little thing that comes up says it's a branch timeline and no longer sacred.
Because the thing is, right, that's... my head. Why can't
time travel, multiverse.
I made perfect sense, at least to me, with the spaghetti bowl bullshit in The Flash. And I understand Back to the Future front to back.
Yeah.
I can sit.
Back to the Future made it pretty simple.
I can sit and argue, anyone who tries to punch like plot holes or contradictions or what, I can sit and set you straight all day. But something about the MCU's time travel, man, and the MCU's multiverse. I don't know if I'm just stupid or if they're doing a bad job. I don't know which it is. Is it arbitrary and confusing on purpose? Right? So, because He Who Remains, his whole MO was that he was anti other Kangs. Yeah. Right?
You saw that Kangs just fought each other and to kind of rule the multiverse and timelines. And
so either Victor is He Who Remains, which it creates a bit of a paradox, creates the same paradox that we ran into with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Didn't see it.
Okay. So this is not a spoiler, really. But in Indiana Jones, the Dial of Destiny, there is a point where Indy does something. It's this paradox. I did a bunch of reading up on different time travel paradoxes and stuff. But basically, Indy goes back in time and does something that enables him to be able to travel back in time in the first place, which is a paradox. Right? Yeah. It's and creates an endless time loop, right? Which is fine. Time loops are a thing, right? We had a time loop in Back to the Future where Marty arrives at the end of Back to the Future to see himself get in the DeLorean, run from the Libyans, and go back in time. Right?
Well, we've already seen some of that in this show, and because it's on what is it called? An Aurora Boreas or Aurora Boreas? Like Obi's name is the term for like an endless loop.
Right. Yes.
And we've seen that in the first episode when they first meet him. Like how could he possibly tell them he's Obi, because that doesn't happen until Loki goes back in time and tells him he's Obi. But how can he know it's Obi? You know, like that's that kind of endless loop that you're talking about.
So, yeah. So either, okay, let me make sense of this. Either this is Victor, like either Victor is He Who Remains, in which case He Who Remains is bidding, which was to give Victor the TVA book, creates a weird time loop paradox, right? Or this is not Victor. This is a different Kang. That He Who Remains was not the Kang from the Sacred Timeline, which doesn't make any sense. Why? Like, I don't know. Anyways, in which case, why this Kang? Why
the Sacred Timeline didn't really exist until He Who Remains created it.
Created it, and the time loom, and like
And he's giving all this information. Well, he's devised a way to give all this information to a version of himself.
Listen, if you're listening to this and it all makes perfect sense to you, and
join us for episode 4.
Yeah, and Carl and I see like a bunch of bumbling idiots. I was about to say comment, but honestly, reach out, and we'll see about getting you on episode 4 so that you can explain this.
Yes, if you are a whiz with theoretical physics and time and all that stuff.
Yeah. Email us at themoviemenpodcast@gmail.com and say, hey, the time travel in the MCU, specifically in Loki and what's going on right now, makes perfect sense. Reach out and we'll get in touch and we'll figure out a way to get you on the show.
The only thing I can think of is what's going on here is he's trying to recreate the perfect storm that created him.
But why would he care?
He's trying to force engineer it.
So is he just... But which again only makes sense if Victor is the one who remains. Because I don't think...
This version of Victor.
Yes, right? Because otherwise, like if Victor is a completely different Kang, then that proposes that He Who Remains is not at all selfish. That he is so just committed to the preservation of the timeline, and he's so committed to not having other Kangs destroy everything, that he is ensuring a successor for himself even after he's dead. And He Who Remains didn't strike me as that kind of guy. Like, he was kind of at the end of time hiding, right? Like, he's kind of cowering there, just trying to, like, he wants to be the only one. So
yeah, there's some arrogance there for sure.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose.
But if you do know, tell us, and we'll
maybe
get you on the podcast.
Maybe this is exactly like what we seen when they met Obi. You know what I mean?
Go on.
The Victor that we're seeing in this episode is the man at the end of time. And the only reason he's the man at the end of the time is because he engineered it in the future. The same way we're calling Obi. The only reason we're calling Obi is because Loki from the future went back to the past and said, "Oh, you're Obi."
Right.
And he's like, oh, I like that. I'll go by Obi now. And then in the future, he introduces himself as Obi to Loki, which is why he calls Obi in the past. So you get kind of like that endless loop. So maybe the only reason the man at the end of time is the man at the end of time is because at the end, just before his death, he engineers a way to give himself the information to become the man at the end of time.
Yeah, but I take issue with that.
It's a weird like endless loop that doesn't make sense. But
I mean, the Obi thing can be explained away because Obi says that it was Mobius that gave him that nickname. And so if Loki simply went back like 5 years before Mobius gives him that nickname, then he just got the nickname 5 years earlier because of Loki now, right? So it changed the past, but it wasn't the initial causality of him being Obi. So that one's kind of, like, you can kind of explain away that one, but the other stuff is confusing as shit. And I don't understand what's happening. Again, if you do, please reach out. We'll get you on the podcast. In the present timeline, the TVA is still at risk of a total meltdown, even though Dox's pruning of the branches helped prevent imminent destruction. Yeah. The branches are growing back, and the loom simply can't handle the amount of new branches.
Yeah, it's just giving them some time.
Yeah. Obi can't do repairs or widen the diameter of the loom so that it can refine the raw time without he who remains his temporal aura. Which is something we found out about last episode, right? That they needed the temporal aura.
Yeah.
The only way to override the security measures is to find Miss Minutes. So Loki and Mobius are back on the case, and they end up in 1893 on a branched timeline in Chicago, which is a branched timeline because of what happened in 1868.
Because Victor received the TVA book.
Yes. 25 years later, the slum that Victor grew up in, 1868, has disappeared and been replaced by the location of the famous Chicago World Fair. And it looked sick, man. Like, I don't know. Whenever someone asks me, like, if you could travel to any decade in time, where would you go? I always say the 50s. I get it. The 50s wasn't a great time for, like, women's rights and black people, and like the 50s had its issues, man. Right? Like, medicine wasn't what it was. Like, I wouldn't go stay there. But if I had to walk around for a week in the 50s with, like, glass bottle Coke and, like, the rise of teenage culture and the, like, leather jackets and the Elvis Presley and whatever, that'd be so sick. Like, I'm all for, you know, going down to the local malt shop and getting a root beer float. Pop. Like, right? Like, it's just like sick to me. Having said that, getting dressed up in late 1800s garb and hanging out around the World Fair, I don't know. That looks sick to me. Loki and Mobius find Victor performing on stage, showing off his temporal loom. A smaller.
This is how they know they're on the right track here is kind of cool. Because they show up and they're like, they don't know if this is the right place or the right time, and they're gonna suss out the fair for clues, and they like. Morbius kind of shows his Sherlockian detective skills here by being
like, I'm slow and I'm precise and I'm
just being aware of his surroundings. Like, I love Sherlock Holmes, and there's a really great kind of like one of my favorite kind of Sherlock Holmes quotes / isms. It really kind of shows what makes why Sherlock Holmes is so good at what he does. Is in one of the stories, he's just hanging out with Watson in their apartment thing, and they're talking about, like, how he does what he does, and he poses the question to his friend, well, the flight of stairs up to our door here, how many are there? And Watson just said, I don't know. I must have walked those stairs 100 times and I couldn't tell you. And Sherlock's response is, he gives him the precise number of stairs, and then he says, the reason that you don't know is because you see but you don't observe.
Right.
Like, and like Morbius kind of like, and he talk, I can't remember where it is in this show, but he's like talking to Loki about why, like, hang on, let's do it a certain way because this is how I work, you know, like, I don't know the exact words he uses, but it kind of reminded me of kind of like Sherlock Holmes a little bit. And this is kind of like exemplifies that, because the paperboy walks by him just shouting out the titles of in the news article.
Yeah.
And Morbius is like,
and he stops and goes,
he stops. He's like, hang on. That sounds off. Give me that. And Loki didn't think twice about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So kind of this little kind of Sherlock Holmes the kind of esque kind of thing Morbius has got going on, I thought. And then the picture of the artist rendition of Miss Minutes in the paper is hilarious.
It's hilarious.
And it was spot
also
on and like really mad looking.
Yeah. And was also hilarious when, you know, like Renslayer says, you know, you stick out like a sore thumb here. And Miss Minutes is like, oh, is this better? And turns into like a black and white, like early animation rendition.
Yeah. And then they're just like bumbling around the fair before they find him, because they just happen to stumble upon a sign that again kind of stands out to Morbius as being that's not right.
Temporal whatever.
Yeah, but like they're walking out of a building eating Cracker Jacks, and apparently this is the World's Fair where Cracker Jacks were introduced.
Yeah, right? It's so good. Victor's temporal loom is a smaller diorama or prototype, as is a very popularly used word in this episode, of the one that exists in the TVA. Loki is shocked to realize that Victor is actually a variant of He Who Remains, and they realize that they can use Victor's temporal aura to unlock the blast doors at the TVA. This is like, listen, again, I've been very public, I've been very forthcoming about my affinity for separating the actor's work from the shit that's going on in their personal life. Right? Like, you can have, you know, Kevin Spacey could be a piece of shit. He's a good actor. Right?
Wasn't he exonerated?
He was.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, like, whether that's, you know, rightfully so or not, I don't know. But, you know, scum of the year, like Bill Cosby, total scum, probably. If what has been said about him, if what he was convicted of is true, then total scum. Funny guy. He's funny, right? And so, like, there can be a separation between person and their art, right? You can be a mass murderer and be really good at fixing cars. I'm going to acknowledge that you're really good at fixing cars. You're also a mass murderer, but you're really good at fixing cars. All that being said, Jonathan Majors is great in this. Like, really distinctly a different Kang than what we got in season 1, and distinctly a different Kang than what we got in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Mm-hmm. Distinctly different. So I was really entertained by the fact that this wasn't just, you know, this is like a slightly, not incompetent, a slightly lacking confidence and stuttering and frightened version of Kang. And it's super well done. Super well done. While Victor's presentation seems to be mostly smoke and mirrors, as we learn later he's a con man, it is interesting to hear how he approaches the conversation about the loom. As he says, the device centers around inverting the temporal decay of the electricity flowing through it, lowering its entropy, and gathering it into fine threads of power, which it then weaves into elegant ropes of voltage. So, he's years ahead of his time.
Yeah. And while this stage show may be a con, the science, not our science, the science of this universe that he's spouting is 100% accurate. Like that's essentially what the loom is doing. It's what powers the TVA.
Yeah.
Right?
So then we come back to the question of like, is this just, has he been able to design the loom because of the actual He Who Remains' notes and blah, 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 or is this actually the invention of the loom?
This is a smoke show, but it looks exactly like the loom because he's pulled it from
the notes. And while this is a smoke show, as we find out later, he has actually reverse engineered and built actual working TVA equipment. Yeah, he built a temp stick. A time stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, it looks like a massive cannon you got to strap on your shoulder.
Yeah, it hasn't been refined.
Like, big two-handed thing. And he's like, whatever that little thing is he was playing with, too. Like, yeah, so he's actually built TVA equipment and other things.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a smoke show, though, because once... Or else, if it's not a smoke show, then the other people just don't know how to use it and how to make it work. But I'm pretty sure that this is just a smoke show to get him some money.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Which is why we have the big chase scene.
What's up with that TVA book? Because, like, okay, he's got this TVA book, which is presumably, again, like we see Obi's picture in it, right? It was written by Obi. But there also seems to be like an obscene amount of blank space in this book for him to write his own notes. Like there's full pages that are just Victor's notes and Victor's inventions and the things that he's drawn up. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe he's added those pages, or maybe is it the same book?
I think so. I thought so.
Do we see it
at first I didn't think so, but then there was a moment where I was like, oh, it's the same book. You're
talking about like later in this episode, right?
Yeah. I'm jumping ahead. Yeah. As he says, the device centers around inverting. I said all that. And so, from chaos comes order. It's hard to tell if Victor is simply trying to sell his device to a robber baron, who likely wouldn't care about temporal marvels without the real-world consequence, or if the temporal loom is really used as some sort of battery to power something more nefarious. I didn't get that. I don't know. Was that something that was made clear to you?
I mean, his presentation made it seem like it could be. He wanted to power the world. You know,
that's true. He's talking about it could power all of Chicago.
But with the onlookers, I think that onlooker who is like, I gotta have this, and like he definitely has probably ulterior motives,
right?
In it.
After the presentation, Loki and Mobius run into Ravonna, and the three of them argue about who he should go with. It's too bad, then, that this is also when the victims of Victor's cons decide to turn up. Chaos ensues as those men try to catch Victor while Mobius and Renslayer argue. Everything goes to shit when Sylvie appears, machete in hand, ready to kill Victor. Once again, she and Loki are caught on opposite sides. She is vicious. Like, she's very single track mind here.
Yeah. And this kind of gives us her plan for dealing with the Kang problem. Right? So like last season,
gonna go
He Who Remains says, you kill me, and a whole bunch of me are just gonna reappear and start a big massive war, and it'll be death, destruction. This is why I'm important. And she kills him. And this her plan is to just kill every variant of him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a simple plan.
Before they become a threat, she will kill them.
Yeah.
So
Loki's intent,
instead of pruning the whole timeline to prevent Kangs from existing, she's simply pruning an individual by slaughtering them.
Loki's intent on saving Victor in order to use his temporal aura, Sylvie only regards him as another version of He Who Remains, someone who robbed the universe of free will. So yeah, she's a little bit of like a freedom fighter here.
Yeah.
But kind of on the wrong side of the battle.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well,
I don't know,
and she's doing it because she's been wounded, right? Like she's still pissed off that she never got to live out her life on her timeline.
Yeah. But see, it's all a little confusing because again, He Who Remains was bad. Right? Like he was a bad guy. Kind of? Or was he? Like what he did sucked, but he was doing it to prevent war and chaos of all the other Kangs. And so like I don't know. Like what are we supposed to believe? Was He Who Remains a bad guy?
Yeah. Like he did it to stop death and destruction.
Yeah.
From his variants. But to do it, he's got to destroy timelines.
Yeah.
Which there's people on those timelines. and when timelines are pruned, they're sent to this other existence where they're then just eaten by this nasty monster thing.
Smoke monster, yeah.
Like that's a pretty terrifying way to go.
Which also creates so much, like, because presumably when a timeline is consumed or pruned, like when a person is pruned, I don't know. When like what happens when a timeline is pruned? Because we saw that a lot in the first. They like set down this little like pruning bomb thing.
Yeah,
and it would prune.
It kind of do to the world what happens to an individual just on a bigger scale.
So it doesn't prune the entire timeline. It just prunes the things in that timeline that are causing it to be a branched timeline. Right? Like the pack of gum and whatever that the kid in like the 1500s had. Because and it must be, because what I'm thinking is like otherwise when they show up and they prune a timeline, it's not like Loki and a Mobius driving a gremlin or whatever vehicle he was in. It's not like that's what would show up in the void for the smoke monster to eat. If they pruned an entire timeline,
we're talking like planets and universes.
The universe arrives in the void. And that can't be.
That's a lot of food for smoke monster.
Right. Like that doesn't, it just like, how does that even work? It doesn't. So Yeah.
Maybe the pruning bombs don't send them to that universe. It just destroys it outright somehow.
I don't know. She regards him as someone who has been weaponized by the TVA to work against them. That's what she thinks of
Loki.
Yeah. Sylvie and Loki fight, sending off a powerful magical blast that separates them. Victor manages to run off with Ravonna, who is not interested in fixing the TVA either, and they manage to escape both Loki and Mobius, as well as the people chasing down Victor for money. Yeah, Ravonna's intentions here are... I don't know. She's, like, Loki says it perfectly. She's lost her way, right? Like, she wants to bring order to the TVA, but also is ignoring the warnings of the fact that pretty soon it's not going to matter, because if they don't get him back with his temporal aura, then there will be nothing to reinstate order to. Like, it's all going to be gone. But then I don't...
Yeah.
But then what Loki and Mobius is doing is not completely black and white either, because it's like, you know, the TVA, like, there's no good solution here, because if they get the loom working again, it's still going to go back to, like, pruning timelines, is it not?
I think they're hoping that maybe that loom can...
They're going to widen it and make adjustments.
Function with branching timelines.
But why do you even need a loom then?
Yeah.
Because the whole point of the loom is to thread it all into one timeline.
Yeah, create the sacred timeline. Maybe the loom is the problem here.
Right?
Maybe the solution is just like, destroy the loom.
Turn the loom off.
Which... if the loom is powering the TVA and the whole reason the TVA is there, once the loom's gone, the TVA are dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, which is kind of what Sylvie is saying. Sylvie's kind of like, destroy the TVA, let it burn to the ground. Who cares? They're the problem. Right? Because if there's no loom, then all the timelines just kind of go about their merry way and they're not branching off of anything.
Right. I don't know. In his home, Ravonna and Victor have a moment where he shows her his refrigerator chair, and it's very clear that Miss Minutes is jealous. When they take a boat to Victor's lab across the lake in Wisconsin, Miss Minutes uses Ravonna, referring to herself and Victor as partners, to feed Victor's dislike for working with anyone else, leading to Victor putting Ravonna in a lifeboat and sending her out to drift alone. This is like, yeah, he's kind of, again, going back to the whole Back to the Future thing, he's kind of got like a people calling Marty McFly chicken thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like he doesn't do partners. Which is maybe tied into the whole, like, maybe is supposed to be like a reference and some connective tissue to the whole, like, he can be the only Kang thing. But yeah, like...
because he if this is his mentality, if this is this variant's mentality, then yeah, he would not be a fan of the Council of Kangs. No. And so, yeah, so she's dispersed of in a pretty, like, aggressive way. It isn't until he arrives at his lab with Miss Minutes that he realizes he's trusted the wrong person. Miss Minutes, like... yeah, Miss Minutes isn't interested in saving the TVA. Instead, she reveals to Victor that she's always wanted a full body so that she could truly, like, not just, like, lead beside him, but she also seems somewhat infatuated with him. Oh, yeah, definitely.
She wants to have a relationship with him.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a... yeah. And she starts getting pretty terrifying here, too.
Oh, yeah.
Creepy.
Yeah. So Victor friend zones her and locks her back into the temp pad so that, she can't. I don't even know. I don't know what she would do. I don't know that she can can she physically interact with things?
I think she can. So we kind of glossed over this. Like, as they're making their escape, Miss Minutes turns into a big, massive, ghosty clock.
Right.
And starts like, ooh, scaring everybody, being a big distraction. And I literally just seen it as because I got Disney Plus up here, kind of skipping through the scenes. There's a whole bunch of flags kind of strung across the street, and she's way taller than them all. And she grabs them and pulls them down.
Okay, so she can interact with things. So yeah, she maybe could have been a threat.
She could hurt somebody potentially.
Right.
What her physical limitations are, like how strong can she possibly be? I don't know. Like could she beat Victor in an arm wrestling competition? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, she could hurt him potentially.
Yeah. With Miss Minutes gone, more problems arise. Ravonna arrives at the lab, wanting to control Victor and gain control of the TVA. Loki and Mobius arrive to try to convince Ravonna to let Victor go. Sylvie arrives next, sending out a magical blast that knocks everyone out so she can gain the upper hand on Victor. This is a great scene, right? It's just like, oh snap, oh shit.
Yeah, and this steampunk pruning stick is so cool.
It's so cool. His entire lab is very cool. It's very like Victor Frankenstein.
All the mannequins. Yeah.
The mannequins and just like the ironwork up on the ceiling. And like, it's just, it's a cool set.
Some of that ironwork and the buttresses there. One of the breakdown videos I pointed out that this is the kind of the circular part right in the corner is very similar to the stained glass at the end of time in his office.
Oh, okay, cool. So then Sylvie's just about to like cut Victor down, and Victor successfully pleads his life. Right? Yeah. Like he says, like, I'm not the person, like, you were hurt by someone and someone did horrible things, but that's not me. Right? You don't know me. You don't know my heart. You don't know.
Yeah. He rolled a natural 20 on his persuasion check.
He sure did. And so despite her promise to kill all variants of Kang, she can't do it. Yeah. And she relinquishes Victor to Loki and Mobius.
Well, yeah, and I think what happens here is she kind of realizes that she's going to do to him what the TVA did to her.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Like the TVA, she's crying. Pissed because the TVA never gave her a chance. They just assumed that because she's different than what Loki's supposed to be, she would destroy the timeline or the world or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And she's essentially making the same judgment call on him. Because you're Victor, period, you're a variant of this guy at the end of time, you're going to be evil.
Yeah. So then Loki, Mobius, and Victor go through a portal? Is that what we call them? A time door?
I guess.
Back to the TVA. And just as they're going through, Sylvie says, "Don't make me regret this." And then says, "I'll take care of her," referring to Ravonna. As a final act, Sylvie creates a time door with He Who Remains' temp pad and kicks Ravonna through to the end of time. With Miss Minutes by her side, Ravonna learns that there is a huge secret that Kang has been keeping about her.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Miss Minutes says some pretty harsh words here for the Man of Time. Like,
oh yeah,
he should have never treated me like that. He should have known.
Yeah,
to that effect.
Yeah, so there's some sort of secret, something that we're not aware of, and hopefully we find out in the next episode or at some point. I don't know. Could be the end of the season. They may not touch on it again. I don't know. It's Disney Plus. Like, who the hell knows? Right. But that's the episode.
So
the credits roll.
Here, what Miss Minute says is, it was foolish of him to make an enemy out of someone who knows all his secrets.
Yes. Yeah.
And then she says, I know a secret about you, and it's going to piss you off. She doesn't say piss you off, but it's going to make you mad.
Yeah. Oh, the plot thickens. So that's the episode. A little confusing.
It's time travel shenanigans.
Yeah.
Of course it's confusing.
And it's like at a certain point, I don't know. At a certain point, do they just stop trying to make it make sense? Like when you have time travel to mess around with, do you just lean into the fact that it's confusing and doesn't make any sense? Or
that seems to be what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're like, what are the most weirdest paradoxes of time travel? And let's just lean into them hard.
Yeah.
Where like Back to the Future, kind of, they're like, okay, let's take this one kind of paradox and just simplify it, make it easy and simple. Whoever's writing Loki's just like, let's just go as far down the rabbit hole as we can go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, Carl, what'd you think? Season 2, episode 3. Was this episode a winner or fail for you?
Man, it was a confusing episode. Like the part where Victor is on stage doing his performance with his thingamabob.
Yeah.
His smoking show. I had to watch that twice. Like I literally got kind of the end of it where he's off stage getting bids, and I was like, I gotta go back because I don't fully understand what he said this machine is for. And I watched it again and I was like, okay, I kind of understand now. Yeah. So it was a fun episode. But yeah, like it's not an easy show to follow. That I don't like. It's not. Yeah. So
are we running the risk of this? Like, are we running the risk of this show instead of clearing up the MCU, just making it more complicated?
Potentially, I guess. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens in the end. But I think this episode was a win for me, even though it was kind of confusing. It was fun.
Yeah.
But it didn't, like, the Loom is still a big threat, even though they've got Victor now. So, but now they have Victor, and Victor's in the TVA. So that's a potential new threat. Mm-hmm. And Sylvie's kind of seems to be, even though we kind of know where she's at, she's kind of like up in the air for like who she's for and who she'll help or hurt. And then then Ravonna is now at the end of time with Miss Minutes, and that doesn't seem to be a good thing. So
it does not seem to be a good thing at all.
But so far the show seems to be solving something every episode, which is kind of nice. But then at the same time, it's presenting new problems while still having this one overarching problem, which I think is good for a TV show. So far this series is going well, 3 episodes in, but it could still easily fall prey to the Disney Plus TV show problem.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think I'm constantly worried about it falling victim to like. I think that's all that ever happens, and it makes me sad, and I don't know what to do about it. But this episode was a total win for me. Yeah, confusing as hell. Super confusing. And
did you rewatch any parts of it?
I didn't.
You just like elected to be, well, I don't understand, so I'm moving on.
Yeah, like it doesn't make any sense. So it is what it is. Yep. No, it's a good episode. I think I liked it better than episode 2. A little more confused about it than episode 2.
Yeah.
But there was more, it felt less slow. Like more things happened in this episode, I thought.
It wasn't necessarily action-packed, but it was intriguing.
Yes, we furthered the plot a lot. Yeah.
It wasn't action-packed, but it was eventful.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I'm excited for episode 4. We're halfway through the show.
Is it only a 6-episode series?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it kind of feels on track for 6 episodes, I would say. Like, I feel like next episode, the loom will be fixed, and that won't be a problem anymore.
Oh, really? You think so? Okay.
Well, they have him there. Right?
Yeah.
They just need his signature, temporal signature or whatever, and then
temporal aura.
Then Obi will fix the loom, and then that won't be a problem anymore.
Yeah, but then what? Then Loki, or then Victor just becomes an antagonist, and he's the conflict for the rest of the season.
Yeah, Ravonna and Victor will then be the antagonist and the major problem for the last couple episodes.
Right. Yeah, maybe. All right. Thank you for listening. Make sure you check out our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all listed below. Our Patreon, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the show and get some fun perks in return. If you understand what the hell is happening in this show, please email us at themoviemanpodcast@gmail.com and make it make sense for us. We will bring you on the show, and you can, you can help us understand what the hell's going on, because we currently don't. Not to the full extent, anyways. And we have merch.
If you are a friend of the environment and you like to buy things that are environmentally friendly, there is a what is it called again? An organic product. We have an organic product.
We have several. We got lots of organic products.
There's only one organic product under the organic product listing.
Oh.
It's a hat.
Is it nice? Is it a nice hat?
It's the cadet hat.
Yeah. Is it nice?
It's 100% cotton.
Yeah? Is it nice?
That sounds nice.
Nice hat?
Looks nice to me.
Yeah. All right. Well, check it out. And until next week, when we still probably don't understand what's going on.
Yeah. Dude, here's to being confused and temporal paradoxes.
Yeah. Woo!